Live from Studio B at the Appraiser eLearning World Headquarters here in Nashville, Tennessee, this is your weekly briefing from Appraiser eLearning. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host. In the news this week, Miss Waters, trainee tips, and the summit. Maxine Waters, chair of the House Financial Services Committee, pointed the finger at Equifax this week instead of appraisers. I'm not going to lie. Rhetoric over the past several months has been difficult to hear. While it's a bit of a relief to see another part of the lending apparatus in the hot seat, appraisers are still sitting squarely in the crosshairs in the ongoing discussion of bias and racial inequity. Look, it's not easy to be the one at whom the finger is pointed. First reaction is often defensive. I'm not that. That's not me. How dare you? That letter last year from one angry appraiser to Miss Waters was a woefully unfortunate example of a defensive response. Not only gone way, way wrong, but neatly illustrating the chairwoman's very point. Pro tip: don't send letters, emails, or texts in anger. Pro tip 2. Maybe if you're insistent on sending that letter, have somebody review it before it goes out the door. Pro tip 3, when condescendingly offering your opinion on what you perceive as someone else's lack of education or intellect, you're going to want to run spell check. There is perhaps a more productive response to criticism. This is just a suggestion. It's a process that I try to follow, but if I'm honest, I don't always get it right. Here it is. Listen without reacting. Consider with an open mind. Study. Do your own research. Learn. And if necessary, if you have to, be ready to change your position. Listen, most of the appraisers I know are hardworking, honest, and thoughtful. None of them, not one, would intentionally consider race in the valuation process. Not intentionally. But we all have biases. We all have opinions steeped in preconceived notions. It's sometimes helpful to step back, take a breath, and consider the criticism without getting defensive. And here's my take on the whole Equifax thing. Equifax can't get credit scores right. Seriously, their data set is ginormous, and they can't get their algorithms to spit out accurate credit scores? I mean, you had one job. If one of the largest credit reporting agencies on earth can't, with the massive data available to them, get credit scores right, how is it possible to think automated valuation models are going to get home values right? Credit scores don't even attempt to account for the hopes and fears that human beings bring to the table when buying their dream home. Sure, in a cookie-cutter subdivision, an AVM might get consistent and not wrong results, but my pal Lindsay's turn-of-the-century bungalow in the funky Hillsborough Belmont neighborhood doesn't fit neatly into an algorithm. So the good news, based on the complaints about Equifax, the logical extension is appraisers will probably continue to be an integral part of the valuation process. True story. An appraiser is walking his trainee around a home, pointing out things to consider. Look at that mold on the soffit, the appraiser says. What's a soffit? The trainee asks. Here's a tip for trainees. If you want to stand out as an exceptional trainee, bring something to the table above and beyond qualifying education. You can do this with self-study, or you can take some additional courses. Learn to identify building components. What is a soffit? Well, that's a soffit right there. It's that little spot underneath the eave. What's the difference between a gable and a hip? Well, this is a gable. This is a hip. Notice the difference? Let's look at that one more time. This is a gable. Right here in the end where you've got the single ridge coming out to two sloping roofs there, this is a hip. You've got the central ridge, and you've got hip rafters going down from there. It's called a hip roof. Know the difference between those things. What's the difference between a patio and a deck? Well, this is a patio right here. It's a paved area. And much to the chagrin of FHA, a patio is by definition open to the sky above, i.e. uncovered. A deck will be framed up and have wooden or composite deck boards on top of it. These are some things you need to do as a trainee to kind of set yourself apart and be at the top of the pile when people are looking to hire trainees. Here at Appraiser eLearning, we're working on a series of courses developed specifically for trainees to help you rise to the top of the pack and find your mentor with ease. You'll find courses about architectural styles, building elements, what photos to take, how to measure a house. You'll even find classes that teach you how to fill out the 1004 form and gather together all the basic research to build reports and addendum. Invest in yourself with learning more than is required. As we say here at Appraiser eLearning, learn because you want to, not because you have to. The summit, just over a month from now, we'll be hosting the Appraisal Summit with the National Association of Appraisers, September 24 through 27 in Las Vegas. Appraisers, you can get 14 plus hours of continuing education. Trainees, you can attend the trainee-specific events. Some of these events are for trainees only. You'll also get to learn and network with working appraisers. I'll be there. The entire Appraiser eLearning team will be there. Please, if you can, join us out in Las Vegas for the Appraisal Summit. We are very much excited to be there. And seriously, our entire team is going to be there. I would love to meet you in person. Come up, shake my hand, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and also tell us what kind of things you'd like to learn about. What kind of education offerings we here at Appraiser eLearning can bring to you. I'm Hal Humphreys, and that's your weekly briefing from Appraiser eLearning. And now, a brief message from a couple of our sponsors.